The Russian armed forces claim to have succeeded in destroying military targets belonging to Ukraine. Spokesperson for the Russian Ministry of Defense, at the start of special operations, the Ukrainian armed forces had up to 250 combat aircraft and helicopters at their disposal. Russian troops destroyed 89 warplanes and 57 helicopters on the ground and in the air. Part of the Ukrainian plane flew to Romania and did not participate in the fighting. Igor also claimed that 90% of Ukraine's military airfields, where the main part of military aviation is based, have been disabled. Practically, according to Igor, there are no trained Ukrainian pilots of the first and second classes left. In addition to air power, Russia has destroyed 137 S-300, Buk M1 and S-125 anti-aircraft missile systems. This is more than 90% of the long and medium-range anti-aircraft missile systems in operation, he said. Meanwhile, on Wednesday the 9th of March, 2022, Russian Air Force bombers and attack aircraft destroyed 49 military facilities, including 2 command posts, 6 anti-aircraft missile systems, 4 ammunition and fuel depots, and 37 areas where weapons and military equipment were located. Concentrated. In total, 2,786 Ukrainian military infrastructure facilities were destroyed during the operation, said the number of destroyed military facilities, including 953 tanks and other armored fighting vehicles, 101 multiple rocket launch systems, 351 artillery and mortar field guns, 718 vehicles. Special military, as well as 93 unmanned aerial vehicles. Ukrainian forces claim to have killed a top Russian commander in a tank ambush outside Kyiv. A video footage shows a column of Russian tanks being fired upon in the town of Brovary, located on the northeastern outskirts of Kyiv. A top Russian commander named Colonel Andrei Zakharov is claimed to have been killed in the ambush. However, this news has not been independently verified. Ukrainian defense forces claim to have repulsed the Russian tank. According to Ukrainian defense intelligence quoted by the Interfax Ukraine news agency, Russian troops were forced to switch to defensive tactics or defense due to the loss of personnel and equipment. In particular, the commander of the regiment, Colonel A. Zakharov, has been removed, the Ukrainian Defense Intelligence said in a statement. Meanwhile, Ukraine claims at least 5 Russian commanders have been killed since the attack was launched on their country 2 weeks ago. According to the British Ministry of Defence, Russia is now facing continuous losses. The high number of casualties in the ranks of the Russian troops led to a reduction in the workforce. According to the British Ministry of Defence, this forced Russian President Vladimir Putin to use other sources of troops. Putin could also hire mercenaries from the Wagner Group, as previously reported. Considering the number of troops from Belarusian allies reportedly refused to engage in combat. So far, Russian troops have not succeeded in seizing Kyiv from Ukrainian hands. Nevertheless, they continued to carry out massive bombings in many cities and towns. On Wednesday, 9/3, 3 people were reported killed when a hospital in Mariupol was bombed by Russia. The incident took place during what was supposed to be a ceasefire. The attack drew strong condemnation from leaders around the world. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky described the attack as a war crime.
risk of remaining proficient with their weapons systems. The Marines of Delta Company, 2nd Tank Battalion, 6th Marine Regiment, recently got the opportunity to fire every weapon on their tanks.
We go out there to fire the tanks on a monthly basis to ensure that all of the weapons and the fire control system, all their components, and we go out there to verify that everything's in good working order and all weapons are up to date. And I was also able to get a couple of my loaders into the gunner's holes that day to fire the tank also.
Personal arms such as the 9mm pistol and the M4 carbine, flares for escalation of force, coaxial 7.62mm machine guns, 50 caliber machine guns, and of course the Big Daddy 120mm main gun. This huge amount of firepower makes a big impression on anyone who might be thinking of taking the tank on in combat.
The tanks, when they come around, people know that we have an extreme amount of weaponry, and the capabilities of the tank exceed that of anything they've probably ever seen here on the grounds.
These tanks are part of the Quick Reaction Force here at Camp Fallujah. Reporting from Camp Fallujah, I'm Sergeant Ted McDonald.